Okay. Yeah, so this is the project that we're working on from last week, and we're supposed to be touching on this for today. Yeah, so I'm going to try to be very slow because I've been informed that I am pretty much too fast for the class. So I'm going to try to be very slow. Yeah, so I want to start with decision-making and conditionals. Decision-making and conditionals, right? So decision-making and conditionals, another word for it would be if-else statements, right? Another word for it is if-else statements, right? So what this means is you're making a decision based on a condition, right? A real life scenario would be, are you hungry? Yes, eat some food. Or are you hungry? No, don't eat yet, right? Or is it morning yet? Yes, go to the office. Else, no, don't go to the office, right? So that's like a real life scenario. And in programming, we make decisions all of the time, especially when we're writing code. So you're writing an app that is supposed to allow people apply for, let's say, driver's license, right? You're writing an app that is supposed to allow people to apply for driver's license. Now, a 4-year-old should not be able to apply for driver's license. So you want to check if the age of a particular user is more than 4, then allow them to do something. Else, allow them to do another thing. Or you're writing an app for someone who is trying to make payments online. So you're writing a condition to say, does this person have enough money to pay for this stuff? Yes, okay, collect the money that they have. No, then stop the transaction. So that's what conditionals or decision-making really are. And then the syntax for that is if brackets open brackets close. Inside of this brackets open brackets close is where you put your condition. Whatever condition you want to write, you put it inside of this bracket open bracket close. Then a curly brace for where you put the action to be taken. Right? Now, under of it, you can now say else. So that is if this condition here is false, right? Then don't enter here, but enter here and a different action. Most likely opposite, right? Most likely opposite. So before we talk about logical operators or relational operators, let's see this in action, right? So I want to just put a Boolean value here. If true, right? Action to be taken is console the right line, the statement is true. Else, like I said, most likely opposite, right? Also the right line, the statement is false, right? So if true, come inside here and print this. But if false, don't print what is inside here, but come into this part. So it's like saying, yeah, it's true, yeah, is false, right? So let's test this first to see what's going to happen. .NET run. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Shit. Okay, this is bad. So apparently, I think I deleted most of my SDKs some time back, and that's going to be a problem because it means I have to download it right now. So please give me a second to quickly do that. I'm going to pause this recording so that this process is not going to be. Let me continue the recording. So while we're waiting to test this, then I'm going to talk about relational operators and logical operators. All right. So relational operators is how does a condition relate to another condition, right? Give me a second. Let's show you. Let me show you this. Yeah, in the resource that was dropped, so that we kind of see. Give me a second. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. So how does a condition relate to another condition is mostly what relational operators is. So sometimes you want to, like the way, let me go back to the code. Like the way we have if and else if, sometimes you want to check if a condition inside here. So sometimes the condition that you're checking might be this condition and this condition, right? So what do we put inside here to check the relationship, right? And that is what you can see here, right? So when we did this, and I did this piece, it gave you all of these keys, right? And that's what you're seeing here. So you can see that there are different things here, right? A equals B, A not equals B, A greater than B, A lesser than B, A greater than or equal to B, A lesser than or equal to B. So these are relational operators that you can try out. As you can see, if A equals B, right? If A is lesser than B, if A is greater than B. So these are conditional statements that I can now say if true is equals to false. Now true is not equals false in this situation. So this statement, if you check on it, it's going to be false, right? And why is it false? Because true is not equal false. It's more or less saying is 0 or is 1 equals to 0. 1 is not equal to 0. And yes, for this relational operator, when you're comparing between two conditions, you're supposed to use two equal signs, right? Not one equal sign. Remember, when we're talking about assignment operators, you use one equal sign for assignment operators, right? Where you're checking the value on the right to the value on the left. So something like this is not correct because you're now checking for conditions. So you have to say, does it equal 0, right? Does 1 equal 0? And that's what this double equals stands for, right? Now, like as you saw in that website, then to check if it doesn't equal 0 will now be this exclamation mark and equals. So exclamation mark here means not, right? Means not. So not equals. That's what this sign is. Not equals. Not equals. Right? That's what this sign is. While equal stands for equals. I'm just going to put it up here. Equal stands for equals. Sorry. Then not equals is exclamation mark and equal sign. Then greater than is the normal greater than that you know, right? Lesser than is the lesser than that you know. Then you now have greater than or equal to, which is this and this. Remember, in maths, it's going to be something like that's greater than sign and like a dash under it, right? But in programming, you just put greater than before the equal sign. That's greater than or equal to. Then lesser than or equal is the normal lesser than and equal, right? So these are what you call relational operators. So I'm going to put it under relational operators. Yeah, so I'm going to put it under relational operators. And I'm going to just switch this back to false, or sorry, to true, because we're going to come back to test it. But now I want to copy this and no, let me just type in here. If 2 equals soup, then I can now print I can decide to print anything, but yeah, I can just say they are equal. And yeah, say else. They are not equal. So in a scenario like this, what do you think will be printed to the console in this condition? Can someone tell me? What do you think will be printed to the console?
They are not equal.
Okay. Look at it properly. They are equal.
They're equal, yeah.
Yeah. So 2 is equal to 2. So it's going to come inside here because yeah, it's going to now convert to true statement and it's going to come inside the true part of the logic. It's going to ignore the false part of the logic. But if it's like 2 is equal to 1, it's going to this is going to convert to false, and then it's going to come to the false part of the logic and print they are not equal. Right? So that is it. Now let's make this a bit tricky, right? I'm going to say if 2 is equal to 1, else if 2 is lesser than 1, else if 5 is greater than or equal to 5, okay? So in a scenario like this, what do you think will be printed to the console? can type it in the chat box if you want.
Five is greater than or equal to 5.
Okay. Who's that? Let's see. Who was that? Sorry.
Me.
Okay, Peter Samuel.
I
think it was Peter.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have a contrary opinion? Just look at it. What do you believe is true? Is it? So we're running out of time, but the normal way, I'm going to stop it here and start it all over again. You guys should join. All right, yeah, so five is greater than or equal to 5. And yes, that is correct, right? That's correct, because if you check this statement, 2 is not equal to 1. So this is going to convert to false, and it's going to go to the next condition. Is 2 lesser than 1? This is also going to convert to false, and it's not going to go into here, right? So one thing you should know is, at every time it's checking a condition, the block of code under it is going to be the true statement of that condition. Then any block under that block of code will be the false statement. So like in this first scenario, this is a true statement, and all of this here are the false statement. So if this is false, there's going to come to the next block, which is going to now convert to the true statement, and all of this one under it will convert to the false statement. If this is false, it's not going to go into here. It's going to come to the next one, and it's going to make this the true statement, and all of this will be the false, right? If this is true or false, if it's true, it's going to come inside the true statement. If it's false, it's going to come down to the next statement. And then once it gets to this else statement, every other condition is going to be ignored, right? Because this does not have a condition. It's saying that, okay, this is my last resort, right? This is my last resort. Then I'm just going to jump in here, and this is, but in this case, 5 is not greater than 5, but 5 is equal to 5. Right? So then this is going to convert to true because at least 5 is equal to 5. And it's going to come in here and print this. So those of you that replied 5 is greater than or equal to 5, that is the correct answer. Let me see if this is, okay, this is done. Let me just install it quickly. I think I need to install the other FTPs. So I want to install it quickly so that we can at least test what we've done so far before going off and coming back. Okay, let's test this out. This is bad. This is bad.
I think you may have to restart your Visual your code, Visual Studio Code.
Let me see. Yeah, actually, okay. I guess I was what? Okay, hold on. Let me try something. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with checking the version, but I think it's going to run. I just type it. Oh, it's not running yet. Okay, let me restart it. Okay. I guess it's gonna work now. Yeah. All right. So sorry about all of that. Yeah. So let's just start testing from the beginning. I'm going to comment this out. I'm also going to. Yeah, so this is the beginning. I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to just start from the beginning, and I'm going to change this to 2, right? So running this, it should print the statement is true. So this is a warning actually, but I don't know what the warning is about. 72 unreachable code. Okay. So because of this, it's saying that it can't reach this code here, right? So it's just stopping here and ignoring this part, right? So, and then it's printing the statement is true. Then if I switch it to false, it's going to ignore the first one and come to the second one, right? The statement is false. So that is just how a condition works. Oh yeah, it's dash version, right? Thank you, Peter. I guess too many version commands messing up my head. So I'm going to comment this out. Now let's try out the else if. So trying out the else if, let's see what's going to print out. So it's printing out the second statement is true, right? Which is on line 82, right? And that's because this part is a false statement, so it's not going to print that. It's going to ignore that. This part is now the true statement. So it's going to print that. And once it gets this, it's going to ignore the rest. And that's why it's giving this warning on line 78. It ignores this. On line 84, it ignored this part, right? So it picked up the else if statement and ignored the rest part and says they are both unreachable code, right? But printed just this one on line 82, right? So if I move this, if I turn this to false and move this to true, right? And print this, It's going to print the third statement is false. Anyways, that's because I wrote that. So if I change it to true, it's going to print the third statement is true, right? Yeah, the third statement is true. Now, what happens if I now make everything false, right? The first statement is false, second statement is false, third statement is false. It's going to now jump to the last one, which is the, oh, less than a minute. So let's just try this last one before